So welcome everyone to the FIZZ Female Financial Empowerment. As you see, I am rocking green sequins. It's a cape actually. And I'm doing this because I want you all to leave this event series feeling fierce, fabulous, and financially empowered. For those of you that I have not yet met, my name is Blaine Ashley, and I'm the founder of the FIZZ Female and New York Champagne Week. I'm thrilled that we're able to offer this event complimentary to you all, thanks to the ladies of Barnum Financial Group, Christina Lawrence and Dawn Robinson. When we started putting together the financially driven content for this event, we had two specific goals in mind: to keep it approachable and humanized for everyone. To further forge the connection between the finance world and the FIZZ Female, we asked three total boss babes in the wine industry to join us to speak every day. This evening, we have Zareth Prokop, who is a senior VP and CFO of Frederick Wildman with us. Zareth is a total spitfire who has epic sound bites and a lot to say. So I'm gonna go ahead and hand it over her to take it away. Cheers, Zareth.
Wow, how do you follow up with that? I've never been called a spitfire before. I've been accused of actually spitting, but not spitfire, so cheers to that. So yeah, I'm the CFO of Frederick Wildman and Sons. We're importer of fine wine and spirits, and also a distributor in New York and New Jersey. I'm going to go through a little bit about my background and my career, and then a little bit about my personal history, because I think when we talk about finances in general, it is a balance of personal and business experience. And you'll hear me have kind of a bubble over the head moment where it's about, oh, I did this because of X. And to try to give you just a peek behind the choices that I've made in my life, and believe me, they have not all been good. Okay, so by all means, you'll hear my one mantra, which is, take the opportunity as it presents itself, make choices, assess as you go through, and then adapt if you need to, because we don't have a crystal ball. If we did, we wouldn't be here, right? So my background, it was not in the wine and spirits industry. I started off in manufacturing, and then ended up in the tri-state area on a consulting assignment on a whim, that my then boyfriend came with me and started at Remy Cointreau. And then I went through Di Serono, William Grant, and then Frederick Wildman, where I was fortunate enough to work with my old boss, my mentor, Mark Hurton, and we're really trying to transform the organization and put in and instill some diversity, some culture behind it, but really just look at where we want to work and who we want to work with, and then build that environment for our employees. So super cool. My personal background is not one of me going and having a charmed life. I can tell you right now, when I was trying to figure out what to share, I said, how did I get here? Where did I come from? Well, we had no money when we were growing up. We had none. I remember my dad used to, and this is in Arizona, used to go every summer and work in the copper mines so that he had enough money to pay for his journeyman masonry apprenticeship. And my mother was a bookkeeper. And, he did that. And part of that work ethic was made me who I am right now, because I saw that. And then there's a whole part of me that my mother instilled, which is the crazy part, but whatever, we'll get to that. Unfortunately, there's two things, or fortunately, there's two things in my life that changed me from my financial perspective. The first was that my dad died unexpectedly in a car crash when he was 36. It was right after he had started his business. He was in it for about 6 years. We went from having nothing to him growing his business and working very hard and getting some contracts. And then we moved out of our old neighborhood. And finally, I was like, oh, great, we're gonna go out to eat, because we never did that. And so it was a huge change in our lifestyle. My mother, to say mildly, did not handle it very well. She was a bookkeeper, but she was also a shopper. And I remember going in after my father passed away into her closet, thinking I would find this trunk full of forget-me-nots. And then what I really found was a trunk full of all of the bounced checks from all of the times she had overdrawn accounts. And I remember thinking, holy crap, perceptions aren't what they seem. And one, I don't ever want to be this way, but two, how do I get to where I want to be, which is I want to go to school, I want to do something, I want to learn, I want to be financially stable. And like I said, unfortunately, my mom did not take it well. And she lost every single thing that my father built. And the children in my family, I was the youngest, we basically separated, all of us, for many years. Sometimes I still don't talk to one, but that's another whole story over another glass of wine, probably a bigger one. But and I remember thinking, I worked full time and I went through my junior and senior year. So I would wake up at 6 a.m, go to high school, and then at the end of the day, I would finish school, and then I would go work at the cashier at Walgreens. We all know, and if you're in the city, you know how pleasant the Dwayne Reed people are. Same thing. It just permeates throughout. So when I started thinking about what I wanted to do as a young adult and go to college, it was a bit limiting, right? Because I didn't have enough money to pay for my own college. And then when I went to go file for financial aid, it was, do you have a parent who can sign for your loan? I did not at that time. I hadn't spoken to my mom for a few years. And it was either a few options. One, find mom and figure out where she's at and can she sign, right? Not an option. Two, get married. Now, I'm a pro at that now because I'm on number 3, but back then it didn't seem like such a lucrative thing. The other thing was have a baby, be a parent. And then the fourth answer was the one I took, which was join the Army. So I woke up the next morning and joined the Army, which I don't know, what goes through your mind. You're 17 years old, 18 years old, you're thinking, oh my God, I got to pay rent, I got to eat, I want to go to school. Like, these are kind of my basic things. So we're going to talk about like identifying your goals. At this point in my life, those were like the basic immediate goals. So I joined the military and I learned so many things. One, going into a group of individuals who are not like you and having to be a team is the most rewarding situation that you could possibly imagine. It's problem solving, it's empathy, it is looking at something that is so far beyond your wheelhouse, but then saying, look, we all have to depend on one another. So it builds a confidence in you. It's like, how do you know you're going to be able to solve that problem when you step outside the room? Absolutely, because you have to, right? And not to say I learned it all. Okay, so when I joined the Army, my first month of pay, since we're talking about finance, I'm going to share it with you. My first month of pay was $862. Now that was in 1991, and it was still only $862. So I learned a couple things. One, I joined the military to get to school, right? So I wanted them to be able to pay for my school, which it's great because they have, and it's been wonderful in that aspect. And then two, I wanted a place to live, right? So I had kind of grown up in an environment and I was like, okay, I need some stability. What I didn't opt for, which is what I got in the military, was my ex-husband number 1. So we got out of the military and we found and then divorced ex-husband number 1. never date anyone prettier than you. That's the story behind that. But also bankruptcy, right? Because he was not a fiscally responsible individual and ran up every credit card. So I came out of that experience, one, learning a lot personally, but execution not so much. Right? Not so much on the execution part. And so then I said, okay, great, we're going to go to school, because that's the whole reason why we went in and ran and crawled through mud and did all of that. And so I went to school, right? And then I picked up ex-husband number 2, because you're young and you're dumb and you think you know everything, right? And you're in school and you're like, yeah, I'm in school getting the stuff done. I was 23 years old. I worked full time when I went to school, so I bought my first house. I was like thinking I was absolutely outstanding. Woo woo. And then the Asian market dropped out. Now, what I went to the Army for and what I went to school for was engineering. I wanted to be a physicist. I was like, yeah, I want to learn about fractal geometry and how I can create black holes and walk through them, because, why wouldn't I? And then I took a step back, saying, all right, this is scary. I thought I had it all planned out, and I didn't, because now I'm thinking, oh my God, I just bought my first house. It was really important to me. I didn't have a stable childhood. I was like, oh, this was it. And then I thought, oh my God, they can take it all away from me. So, and of course, you think about they. I mean, I'm 23. I'm still dumb. But I was just more dumb. And I'm thinking to myself, what can I do? What can I do? Oh my God, I need something stable. And I was like, accounting. I can be an accountant. And so I immediately went back to school and went to school for accounting. So then, of course, as young people do, like, yeah, got out of that one. Well, probably shouldn't have got married, but it's okay. And then I started going into business with my friends and family. So maybe works out for others. Wasn't necessarily the right choice for Saratoga. So put a lot of effort into running a business with my family, husband number 2, friends, and realized that that was probably not the smartest move. And then made a change and said, hey, maybe I need to also not have husband number 2. So that was like, when you wake up and you're on 2, you're like, oh shit, I'm a loser. And I think we all have that personal thing, like, oh my God, what have I done? I did all this work and I didn't get there. And you lose this focus and you're like, crap, is it all worth it? Am I wrong? Do I need it? So then I said, you know what, suck it up, Sarah. Here's what you gotta do. What did you originally want to do with your life anyway? You wanted to do something fun and work with people that you like and do something that maybe will help someone. All right, so maybe finance doesn't help many people. I'm not going to try to thread that needle, but so I ended up meeting, the 3rd time's a charm, husband number 3, Chris Prokop. So if you've ever seen me, you will know that most of the time we're together, which is great. We've been together for 16 years, and 9 of those we lived in a 150 square foot apartment that I still have. So that's just, you went from really, really knowing what you didn't want, establishing what you do want, and then making it happen. So fortunately for me, I married an accountant, very much like me. So when we have conversations, we're those nerdy people who sit there and talk about system implementations and finances and how the AT and that didn't work and who's on this and who didn't do their planning and who's done first with planning and how many days. It's lame, but it's fun for us. So again, going back through, looking at setting the goals, finding the path, and then making it happen, but not because it was easy, but because it's the option that you took at the time. And choices would be made differently depending on the variables. So would I have done anything different? No, because there was no other choice to make. Would I wished I had been a little smarter, a little faster? Yeah, but maybe I wouldn't have learned as much. So fast forward, to us coming to New York City and having this spectacular opportunity at Frederick Wildman to lead a team of people as in a business that's in transition. Frederick Wildman was a company that has been around for a very long time, and the individuals there who've been there, there's been people there for 30 and 40 years. That speaks a lot about the integrity of the company and the people having the belief and staying there. And that's a great thing. And transformation doesn't mean leaving that behind. It really kind of means let's bring it to the future, which I think we as executive team are trying to do and try to empower our people. But going back to that financial piece of it, business, personal. I treat my personal finances very different than the business finances, and I can tell you that for sure. If anyone on here is my girls, I think are on here. My idea is just saying, hey guys, oh, by the way, I bought us cash front row tickets. Let's go to Denver for Pride Week and rent a house. And they're all like, what? And I was like, I don't know. I was in the dark in the North Pole drinking wine, and I figured we should all do that. So business is not like that at all. Right? Business is, yep, my friend, yep. Okay, so business is about, and making those business financial decisions is about sustainability. It's about trust and building the trust. It's about making sure that we think about things in the long term, but also know how we're going to measure them so that if they start to derail, we can adapt and adjust to make sure that we're successful. So I'm really, really happy and honored that you guys allowed me to kind of kick it off. If I leave with anything, it's that everything in my life, and financially or not, is you have to reflect on, right? You have to stop and take notice. You honor the journey, not because it was easy or fun at sometimes, but because it happened and it made you who you are, and it will make an impact on your decision moving forward. And then you celebrate your successes, right? Not to the point where you're like, woo, woo, in denial like I was, floating down the river in Egypt, but that you celebrate them to the extent that you should, and you acknowledge the lessons that you learned, and hopefully you learn the lessons you need to learn just a little bit sooner, so it's not as painful. But planning for the future is going to always be a plan, because the future always extends the further down the path you get, because it's the horizon, right? But make choices, know why you made them. If they're bad, just accept it and make different choices, right? Because we're all going to do that. And then just be kind to yourself. And I say this, maybe I'm, collectively saying we as women, but I think we are often very hard on ourselves because we inherently set the bar very high, because we are expected to be us and then more than a man. I mean, that's kind of like the ideology, but I don't believe that at all. But I do know one thing, because I had a conversation with Dawn before this. It was like, hey, she's like, no, women and men do this. And I was like, I don't think I do that. But then I'm sitting here thinking, but I'm in a call acknowledging the fact that I could do better means I am doing that, because I am taking consideration for myself, for my peers. I take ownership for the people I work with. I really, truly want to help them. I want to help everyone around me, because it's no fun being an asshole. I mean, we all are sometimes, but ultimately you feel bad, right? So, take it with it what you are, but walk away just knowing that whatever you choose is going to be the right path. Mine is definitely squiggly, right? Like I was like, ooh, straight line. Oh, no, Jackson Pollock, that's me. But it's okay, because in the end, we're all here to learn. So enjoy. I hope you enjoy the Protege. It's my fave. And I cheers to you guys for showing up and making it happen. And if you guys ever want to chat, I can chat for very long periods of time. Ask yourself. Cheers.